All right, it's time. NFA Money Talks. Hello, everyone. It is time for another NFA Money Talk. Today, I'm super psyched because I have someone who actually we met through podcasting, and we were on a podcast. I think it was on his podcast, and we just clicked. We were like, we have so many awesome things to talk about. So I've been on his show, he's been on mine, and we do awesome stuff together in the world. So I'm having him on today to bring his knowledge, his gems of wisdom, his energy, his experience, and with the NFA community so that you can all benefit from his, I was going to say billionaire mindset, right?
Not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Working towards it.
Yeah. So everyone, welcome Dr. J. And we're going to dive deep in. As you know, we always like to talk about the raw, real conversations around money, the things that get people hung up, and his journey of entrepreneurship and how that can benefit you so that you can learn through some of the things that he's experienced as we have this deep dive conversation. If you're here, of course, if questions come up or comments, share them in the comments and we will answer and give feedback and all that kind of good stuff. So let's start with this, Dr. J. I like to think about money fears and how you've overcome them. So share for something that's happened to you big in your money journey since you became an entrepreneur 30 years ago, right?
33. Yeah.
30. Okay. So 33 years of entrepreneurship. I'm sure you've had a lot of ups and downs. So can you share a money fear that you had that you broke through, some story around that?
Yeah, I can. It's the simple one that comes to mind. And by the way, thank you for having me, Dr. Mann. I'm excited to be here and hopefully drop some wisdom bombs on everyone who's out there listening. So I remember the first time, the first business I purchased, it was a 7-figure business. I was out of college, maybe 3.5 years, had a ton of student debt. We just had our second child. And, I said to my wife, I said, we're going to buy this business. And she looked at the number and she literally like was nauseous. Like she goes, I think I'm going to get sick. And, talking about stretching your concept around money, all she saw, and myself at times too, although she had more concepts or fear-based concepts about it because she's a fear-based personality type, not judging it. It's just the way her personality type is. It does make you really stop and wonder and say, man, can I do this? Can I make it happen? Am I going to pay this debt back? What's going to happen to my family if I don't? And I still have all this student debt to pay back. So I remember I reached out to a mentor of mine and I said to him, I said, what would you do? And he said, I would always bet on myself. And he said, knowing who you are, I would bet on myself twice. So he said, to me, it's an investment. And that changed everything, right? It wasn't an expenditure. It was an investment in me, in our future. And that shifted my concept around it. And then we were all in and we rocked it.
Nice. It makes me think about how our perception is everything. Like you can walk into something and be 100% committed and that fear will go away as long as you have the right mindset around it. So it's like shifting the perspective with just a slight change in your orientation of like, should I be afraid because I'm spending a lot of money, or do I go all in because I'm investing in my future? Mm-hmm. I'm curious, like with your wife, because you said she was a fear personality type. I haven't heard of these before.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with the Enneagram, there's 3 dominant personality types. So image-based, fear-based, and assertives. And so she's of the fear-based triad. And again, it's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just how, her mindset is wired. And so in some respects, I had to talk her off the ledge, and because she needs certainty. A fear-based person needs certainty.
Yeah.
And how much certainty can I give her? And I told her, knowing us, we will do everything within our power to make this work, and think about the opportunity it will present for us for our family in the future. And so from that moment on, I never really looked at debt of the purchase. I thought about the opportunity that it afforded us. And then we wound up taking that business and tripling it over a really short period of time. So it worked out.
That's amazing. When you bought this business, did you have previous business experience?
No, it
No.
was the first.
Wow.
Well, outside of my own little landscaping business as a teenager, yeah, nothing of this nature.
Okay. So I'm so
Yeah.
curious, like what caused you to have the faith in yourself in that initial buy? What was going on for you there where you're like, I'm going to go for it? Because that's a
We
big
were actually,
decision.
yeah, we were actually looking at another business in a different area. Honestly, it came down to geographics. My wife was from where we live now, and I was looking to move back to the East Coast and be closer to family. And initially, she said she was all in, but I really knew in her heart she wasn't. So I was
Mhm.
really thinking in regards to our family and what was best for our family financially and for us, as from an emotional standpoint. So I moved away from that and I found this particular opportunity, and so it was really had to do more of location and doing what was right for our family at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, will you, for people watching, will you share how, if they're in a similar situation where they're looking at a business, starting a business, what are some tips that you learned from then to today in terms of overcoming those money fears and being willing to invest in yourself?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, so we purchased the business, and I quickly realized I did not have the. So being a chiropractor, I was educated on the art and science and philosophy of the body and healing and so on and so forth, but I didn't really have much of an education in business. So
Yeah.
right off the bat, I really struggled, and then we had 20, a few dozen employees. And I didn't also have a very good understanding of how to lead people, inspire people, and to create a vision, which drives the business. So to answer your first question, there are 4 basic principles that each business needs to have. I don't care if you're a startup or if you're purchasing an existing business. You need to have a very clear core purpose, which is your why. Why does this a business exist, and how does it impact the people that you serve, right? And then the core mission is, how is it that what you do, right, affects the customer in a way that creates a positive outcome? So a core mission. Then you got to have a certain set of core values, 3 to 7 core values that define you and really become the lighthouse in the storm when difficult decisions are being made. Does this decision align with these core values? And if it does, then it's simple to say, yes, we're moving forward. If it doesn't, it's simple to say, no, it just doesn't align with our vision, doesn't align with our core values. And then a core set of beliefs, right? If I was to cut you in half, right, how do you bleed, in the sense that some of our core beliefs is constant, never-ending personal improvement, right? We start by the clock, we end by the patient. We work for constant positive feedback. We had 10 core beliefs as a business. And so that actually attracted a certain kind of employee to us that resonated with these 4 principles. And once I learned those and began to implement into our business, that's when our business tripled. We struggled initially because they didn't understand this process, and they didn't understand the metrics of running your business based on numbers, particularly in healthcare, right? You have the heart hand and the business hand. The heart hand is the clinical side. This is how you take care and love on people. And then you get the business hand. This is where you make decisions based on, does this economically sound moving forward or isn't it? And sometimes they diverge. Hopefully most of the time they converge, but sometimes they diverge, and you have to make hard business decisions that some of your people may not understand or fully appreciate. So those 4 core principles were the foundational piece that really allowed us to take off. Knowing and understanding the core metrics within your business, and within my business, I had 18 core metrics. Some we review daily, some weekly, some monthly, some quarterly, and annually as well too, because they tell you trends. Where is the business moving? How is it progressing? Where are you slipping up in? Because I find when people reach out to me who are business owners who are struggling, they don't know that, most of them don't know their core metrics. And so it becomes very difficult to understand where the problems occur within the business, where the obstacles or the constrictions are occurring. So the business side as well too. And then finally, it's the heart of leadership. I found that leading people, right? Leading people with, I think Mackey said this, the CEO of Whole Foods. He said heartfelt leadership, right? Leading with emotion, loving on people, being authentic and being vulnerable with people. Let them know when you screwed up. Let them know if you don't know the answer to things. If you lead with a heartfelt, a heart-centered mindset, people will follow you, and they'll go to the ends of the earth for you, and be interested in them rather than about yourself. And that's what I found to be the core aspects of the success we've experienced in that business and many other businesses we've achieved.
Okay, let's break this down because you just dropped so many amazing business bombs. Will you share one thing you said that I think is really important for people, because I think you said there were 18 core metrics.
Yeah.
Not that you have to go into every single one of them here, but can you give some ideas around what that looks like for people? Because you said you tripled your business. What amount of time did it take you to do that?
Once we had all these pieces in place, like I said, first few years we struggled. We tripled the business in under 4 years. And it was a business that was established for 32 years when we purchased it.
Wow. Okay. So you had massive overhaul and
we
results.
Did.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's interesting, Dr. Amanda, is once we began to implement this, some of the people on our team did not align with that, with our new vision, and they left. And that was fine. It had nothing to do with them as human beings. They just weren't in line with their vision. And then we attract other people who were. So then you put a dynamic team together that coalesce around a core vision.
Yeah.
Man, you become unstoppable.
Yeah. So it's really, so this, the tracking relates to this,
Right.
to this, right?
For
and
sure.
These all go together. So, sharing with people here, because these tips map onto any business model, right? It doesn't matter what kind of business you're running. There's many things I want to ask you. One thing first, I want everyone here to pay attention to, Dr. J said the first few years of the business, they struggled. And that's not to set you up that you have to struggle yet. I think there's a learning curve, like we struggle in the learning curve. Like, to me, when you say that you found that these are what caused your business to start to grow, the core purpose, core mission, core values, core beliefs, and then you started tracking these core metrics, and then your business tripled. It takes time to figure this stuff out. It's not like you just walk into any business, whether you purchase a business or whether you start your own business, and just know what you're doing. And so I want to remind everyone here how important it is to stay in the game long enough and to keep learning and have that growth mindset where you go, okay, I'm committed. You bought the business, you're like, I'm going all in, and then I'm going to figure it out as I go. And we're just going to keep playing until we figure it out. And then start attracting the right people, growing the business from that place. I like to encourage people, because I think people get really stuck in that it's not happening fast enough mindset.
I would 100% agree with that. And as I mentioned about core beliefs, one of our core beliefs is that there are no problems, there are only solutions. And if I don't have the solution, somebody already has figured it out. I just need to find it and connect with that person and learn from that person. So it completely changed the concept of struggle, where I then accepted it as a learning opportunity and to grow. And boy, that was a game changer for us.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so you said core belief, which is transforming struggle. There are no problems, only solutions.
Correct.
And everyone here, that's a mindset shift, right? Like, if you walk into it from that perspective, you create your reality through having the thought. So either you're hyper focused on the problems and quote unquote trying to fix the problems, or you're focused on the solutions, which when you have, plug into your brain as a problem solving, solution oriented mechanism, when you plug in the solution-based orientation, you go like, okay, let's look for solutions. You come up with them. It's just such a different energy around building a business.
It is. And, and then we taught our leadership team when working with the staff, is that if a staff member had an issue, right, we open door policy, let's chat about it. But you can't complain. You can't come with a complaint unless you bring at least one potential solution to that problem, because then it's just a bitch session.
Love that. That's so powerful. I mean, in your personal life, right? Like, if you just set a rule for yourself, I'm not allowed to complain. Everything changes, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely changes your energy.
Yeah. I always I think of complaining as being a crap magnet. Like right? Because when you're complaining, you're sending out that it's like sending out a radio frequency of like, hey, a shitstorm needs to come my way because I'm complaining, and you're just attracting what you're thinking and being. And so you just you complain, and you attract other complainers to you and things to complain about. So it's a really powerful tip in leadership. Okay.
It is.
Yeah. Let's go back. So core metrics. Could you give a couple of really key core metrics that you would have people measuring in business growth?
Well, first and foremost, a lot of people are looking to expand and grow their business, so they need to increase, their lead generation. So, what tools are you using to create new leads and attracting new leads to your business? And then lead conversion, and then lead conversion to sales, and the rate of sales. So, in other words, what is my close rate for sales? 3 amazing but really powerful metrics that you need to know in your business. And I'm talking about service-based businesses here, but I mean, really, if you think about it, you're either selling a product or a service, or sometimes both. And so those transcend over any type of business. So those are really, really critical.
Okay.
My cost per acquisition, right?
Yeah.
What did it cost to, I may be attracting some leads, but the cost is astronomical compared to the sale, so the margin may be really narrow. So what's the margin on the sale? And then also tracking your overall margins based on your total revenue as opposed to expenditure. And certain industries, there's a percent margin that are considered healthy and percent that is not considered healthy. What is it for your industry? And do you fall within that? So, I mean, I can go on and on and on, but those are some really simple ones I think most people need to wrap their head around. And then, I always tracked every single day. I would get an email in my inbox first thing in the morning that tracked all our metrics from the day before, everything. And then I would, it would just collate it throughout the week, throughout the month. So I knew exactly where we were, but also the team did as well too, because we had monthly goals. Now I want to emphasize this, right? And I did so in my clinic as well too. We weren't driven by numbers or dollar signs. We were driven by quality of service and value. And the revenue is a mere reflection of the amount of value you create. So that was sometimes a hard thing for people to wrap their head around. But we use that simply to assess, are we creating more value? And therefore, the byproduct is people are spending and committing to service in our practice.
Yeah. That's so important. I mean, NFA Money is entirely built around money. The reason I focus on money is because it's the tangible measure of your value that you bring in a business, right? So it's like the more money you make, the more value you're bringing, the better you feel about that, then the higher level money you can get to and feel really good about it. So people can make a ton of money in the world feeling bad. We see it all the time. Or you can feel really good making the money. And that's always my goal with people, is going like, okay, let's be NFA about making money and really feel good, enjoy, and experiences it as a positive thing. So I love that your focus is on quality of service and value. And then you use money as the tangible measure that you are in alignment with the metrics that you have set for the goals.
100%.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You and I hosted a mastermind a few months back. And one of the things we worked with the group is charging what you're worth, which is essentially what the name of the program was. And there were some really great entrepreneurs that struggled to charge a value that charge a fee that reflected the value that they were providing, because they felt they would either feel guilty or had some limiting belief that people wouldn't pay for that. And it was fun helping them work through those challenges, because it's a game changer when people can then have their fees reflect the value that they're charging. And the thing is, this is the thing that is so cool that they realize, is that then attracted more people like that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Who appreciate and understand the importance of value and were willing to spend for that value because it was high on their own core value list.
Yeah, I love this because you and I don't think I've ever talked with you about business metrics before. Like you and I always go into the mindset work, and so some of that is the practical, actionable strategies that you must. I always think of it as what you appreciate appreciates. And when you're responsible with your money's going to grow. So there's that aspect of it that you've really talked about in the beginning of this. And then there's this mindset piece around, charging what you're worth, believing in yourself, having confidence, attracting the right people, and then that grows. And so, I love what you're saying. It's like people go, oh, when I charge a higher amount that's more in alignment with the value and service I'm providing, then that, by the nature of valuing myself, the people value me more. And then they also attract other people who value me to that degree. And then that's what grows. And so it's so important here for everyone to remember mindset, habits, strategy around money making. It's all, Dr. J, 33 years in business, has a lot of knowledge in this area, and I would say knowledge, experience, and masterful mindset. So if you had to say, let's say, one main secret to charging what you're worth, what would you say that it is?
I would say the main thing would be I had a mentor tell me this once. He said, you either want to be at the highest end of the spectrum or the lowest end of the spectrum in your field. You never want to be in the middle. And I said, why? He said, because then you just become a commodity that gets lost amongst the noise, right? He said, create the very best value you possibly can and outshine your competition, that, money doesn't become even an obstacle for you, because it was, if you are competing via price, you're always going to lose. That's the nugget, right? If you're competing via price, you've got to compete based on the value you provide. I just can't emphasize enough. It's the value proposition. And so one of the things we used to do monthly is we would have a value mastermind. How do we create more value? We bring the entire team together. Sometimes it was simply bringing in cut flowers, or having fresh fruit, or putting essential oils around the office so it had this, unique, very soothing experience. I mean, subtle things.
Yeah.
But when you bring everybody together and you have that whole consciousness about more value, and then that led to the interactions between the staff and our customers, because they knew that was an essential part. And I always said, so one of the interview questions my staff used to ask is, how strong is your relationship with your parents? Oh, I love my parents and love my best friends, blah, 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 blah. I said, great. Our goal here is to treat every one of our clients like they were your parents, right? With the love and the respect and so on and so forth, right? So value, 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 value.
Yeah, this is awesome. So great. Okay. I want to ask, I always like to ask every guest to give tips to our viewers and the NFA family. If you could give 3 tips to get to 6 figures faster. So this would be for people who are pre-6 figures or people who are at 6 figures and want to keep catapulting 7, 8, whatever level they're going to. What are 3 tips to help people get to 6 figures faster?
Number 1 is mind your expenses.
Okay.
We can get lost pretty quickly, especially in the startup side, of getting overwhelmed in the expenses. Now, I just talked about value. You could still, when you're starting, create a high valued experience and mind your expenses. So don't allow your expenses to outrun your revenue early on. Really important aspect. Let your revenue grow and build, and then invest a % of your revenue growth each month or quarter in the growth and the expansions of your business. And so we would always reinvest usually between 10 and 15% of net profit in customer experience or customer growth. So reinvest back into the business there. The number 2 is, it's a simple one, but most powerful, especially in the service industry. Be masterful at building great relationships. All success in business is built on great relationships. The better you are at creating great relationships, the faster your business will grow. Right? And number 3 is serve people according to their needs, and your needs will be met. None of our core beliefs. In other words, when we look as a client as a dollar sign, or if I need to get more clients or have more sales, all I get is more need, more want, more lack. If I serve them best to my ability based on what's going to help them achieve their goals, my goals will always be met. And it's one of the core elements that really helped us take off.
That's incredible. I'm curious. Okay, these are really important. So I want to dig into each of these. So number 1, you're talking about minding your expenses. So let's say you're a new business. Let's say you're a new business that's, well, when I say new, you're in business, you're looking to expand and you want to break through to the next level. What's a simple strategy people can do to mind their expenses? Like, what does that practically look like for people?
I have found a lot of people don't know how to read and understand a spreadsheet, a P&L. So get with a good business coach to help you understand your P&L and understand what do you need to run your business monthly. I see a lot of small business owners really consume their products with all this extraneous expenses that eats up their profits. And then if you eat up your profits, you eat up your investment capital to grow your business. So understand, know where your money's going. It's just like at home, right?
Yeah.
On a simple family budget. You look around and at the end of the month, it's like, man, we just scrape by. But if you had this all layered out in a spreadsheet, you could see where you're spending all this money that just seems like it's just floating out the window, especially now in our inflationary cycle. So putting it on a spreadsheet, understanding how to read a P&L, knowing where your discretionary expenses are going. No, discretionary simply means is, it's nice, but not necessary. Right? It's nice, but not necessary. It's been said about 20 to 25% of expenses in small businesses go to discretionary spending.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's being willing to look at the highest ROI expenses
yes.
and know the bottom line and focus there.
Yes, and you brought up another great point. Is we in our business, we knew about, it's the old 80-20 rule. We knew about 20% of our procedures accounted for 80% of our results. And we would drill and train and re-drill and retrain and over and over and over till they just became just just an absolute habit, and everyone knew, and we didn't have to think through it. It was something that we just did naturally. So look at the actions that drive your revenue and become masterful at those things.
Yeah. This is okay. Let's see. We've got a comment, so we're gonna chime this in. Hey, Zamba, psyched you're here. He says, if you base on price instead of value, you will lose. If you price yourself in the middle and not high end, low end, you will become a commodity. Great advice. That is so true. And this is interesting because like this ties into what we were just talking about in terms of like how you got to know your numbers. A big money block that I see come up for people is that they avoid looking at their numbers because they have this money block. Money causes stress. So it's like, ooh, somehow I'll just pretend that I don't really need to know what's going on because it causes me too much stress. But then it actually creates more stress because they don't know their numbers and they don't know their highest ROI activities, which means then they can't provide the right price because they don't even know what's going on in their business.
That is such a great point. So my wife was my business partner, and she admittedly says she's not a numbers person. She was the heart of our business, and really good at it. And so I love numbers, and so we would have these conversations back and forth, and I would share with her, and it's just interesting, right? And so particularly early in business, if that's not your thing, then find somebody who can help you with it, because you're absolutely right. More than a few businesses don't get out of starting blocks or get beyond the starting blocks is because their fear of confronting the money issues. So it's just like they have at home.
Yeah, it's like conflict avoidance, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, I feel conflict about money, so I'm going to avoid it. But what you avoid persists and grows in size, That's what Carl
I-
Jung says, right? So it's
yes.
like you avoid something, it grows and gets worse and worse and worse, instead of shining a light on it and going like, let's get conscious of my money that's coming in and going out, knowing my P&L, knowing how to read it, or hiring someone who can teach me how to do it or interact with me on that. Because you
Right.
don't have to become a master bookkeeper to run a business, or a master accountant, or an accountant, right? You can have other people be managing that part, but you want to be looking at it with them. You want to have I had a guy on a podcast episode quite a while back, and it was amazing because he had run several 8-figure businesses. And he's like, I look at my money every day, several times a day. I know exactly what's going on in my business. And I was like, that's amazing. When you think about that much money management going on, it's like, he doesn't, he's not inputting the numbers. He's looking at the reports every day, knowing the bottom line, tracking and minding his expenses.
It's just smart. It's what's smart.
Yeah.
That's why he's an 8-figure business person.
Exactly. Yeah. It was amazing.
Quick story. If an employee ever came up to me and said, "Hey, I think I deserve a raise," and my response, and think of this in terms in the bigger picture, my response was, if it wasn't me or if one of our staff member, one of our team leaders would say, "What additional value have you brought to the table that would require you to get paid more?"
Yes.
Right. So it always gets back to that aspect, right?
Yeah.
So if you can quantify how you brought more, because simply time for me is not an equation to additional revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting to think about, because time, we go like, okay, how do we spend our time? When you say this one to me, this is so powerful to also say, mind your time,
Yes.
because that's what helps you mind your expenses and mind your income. So it's like, what am I spending my time on? What are my highest ROI activities? That your money and your time are going to be correlated there.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, number 2, you said be masterful at building great relationships. By far, this has been the key to me building my business. All of my business is, I've only run ads one time, very short period of time. So my whole business has been run by organic marketing through mostly word of mouth and building powerful relationships. So, will you share here for you some tips that you've used to build powerful relationships? Because I think this is such an important one.
First one that comes to mind is be authentic. Just be you. Right. This is really important. Don't try to be somebody else. If you're not an outgoing person, you don't have to be me or you, whatever the case may be. Just be you. Be comfortable in your own skin, and people will sense that confidence and that comfort that you have. It's also important to reach out. We were at an event on Saturday night, and probably half the room I knew, another half I didn't, and I made my way to everyone I didn't know and introduced myself and just said hi. Some came into great conversations. Some it was just a greeting and we moved on, right? So get out of your comfort zone and go to where people are at, particularly if you're in business. Go to your local chamber or BNI or other networking groups, and go meet other entrepreneurs. I have had the most success in my life by meeting other entrepreneurs, and we create a relationship, and then we create partnerships.
Yeah,
right?
Me too. Absolutely. Yeah.
So get out of your comfort zone, go meet people, and most of the time they become clients, and that's not even the intention, right?
No.
It's just
Yeah.
but they get to meet you and they like you and they trust you, and then when they have an issue, they reach out. Reach out to you.
Well, and it's like, it's clients, it's collaborations. It's just such a powerful way. I'm remembering a story you told me once about, you were on vacation and you were in line with someone, you just started chatting, and then it turned out to be like a football star who was like, we need a mindset coach, and it's just like, you never know, right? It's just conversation building relationships.
I was on the Hertz rental car line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I mean, it's just, and I'd like to do stuff like that, because I find people very interesting, and mindset, right? I find people interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And everyone here, like, it can be scary to promote yourself. I know that a lot of people get scared to promote themselves. Don't come at it from a perspective of, I've got to promote myself to get business. You come at it from, how can I build a relationship? Yeah. I was telling one of my mastermind students in this other mastermind that I have the other day, I said, just start talking to people, set up coffee Zooms. Like if you're not going out and networking in person, just say like, hey, let's chat and see how we can get to know each other. That's how I've built my entire business. And, networking was for me when I started, it was pre-COVID. I just went to every networking event I could. And I just started talking to people, and I'd have coffee dates, and I would just get to know them, and we'd promote each other. And it would just be like, it turned into me building my business to six figures in that first year, only through talking to people. Really, that was how it happened. Talking to people and sharing information through podcasting, and then connecting with other podcasters. That was it. It was no like magic formula that I had. It was that I had the mindset of like, how am I going to talk to everyone I know about what I do, because I have something that can help, and how can we share that information? That's it.
Yeah, I agree with that. If people find themselves when they start a conversation with somebody talking about themselves, for me, that's a red flag, right? So if I catch myself talking about me before I learn about them, I stop and pull back, and then I'll ask them a question. Tell me about me. Tell me about you. Tell me about what you do, and what do you love, and what are you passionate about? So it's that old, be interested before interesting.
Yeah, love it.
Because people love talking about themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So be a good listener, be good at asking questions, care about other people. And it's funny to say these are, quote unquote sales strategies, but it is, right? It's just it's a building rapport is what we're doing.
And that was number 3, become a master at asking questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see this, right? Serve people according to their needs. How do you know their needs if you don't ask them questions?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's so powerful. These are amazing tips. I know you and I love to talk to each other and share our knowledge with everybody. We mastermind wise, Dr. J and I have a mastermind called Money Mindset Masterminds. And I want us to share a little bit here, people who don't know us yet, or who are just getting to know, let's say maybe they know me and don't know you yet. Will you share a little bit about why you're so inspired to help people with their money mindset?
Because it is my belief that each and every one of us has the infinite capability to attract enormous abundance in our lives. We just don't know the tool. We may not know the tools or the formula yet to unlock that. And so how would I be a good steward of humanity, a good mentor of humanity, if I didn't share that with everybody I know? As I always say in my podcast, great content should flow through us, not to us. So passing it on is my legacy to the next, particularly, young people, to the next generation. I used to be young once, and I used to have this mindset that I'll figure it out. I don't need anyone's help. And, asking for help was a sign of weakness. I know that's not the case anymore. And so my passion is to make sure that people can find a resource to give them the tools to achieve their dreams. It's that simple.
Yeah. When you say that, it makes me think about how powerful mindset is. Like in the stories you shared today, like even at the beginning when we were talking about money fears, it was a pivot in your mindset, right? And all great successes come from that place. I think about my own story of going from food stamps to six figures and building more and more success and having more and more investments and just all the things. It all started with the root of my mindset.
Sure.
Like had I not changed that, nothing in my life would have changed. And so I think it's such a powerful starting place for every single person, and starting place and ending place, right? Like it goes through the course of your whole business. Never ever do you want to spend one day where you don't consciously align your mindset first thing for success. It's such a powerful tool.
Yeah, it really is. And, just like we should nourish ourselves from our diet, from our exercise, our mind's no different. It needs good information in to operate at its highest level. And in the world we live in today, even more so, because we're constantly being bombarded with toxicity and negative messaging. So Gandhi said, never let someone with dirty shoes walk through your own mind. And the only way you can pick those weeds is by being intentional and having a routine to build an abundant mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. Will you share what you do in your morning? I'm sure you do a morning routine. So what will you
Sure.
share what it is to align your mindset every day?
So the first thing I do is I start even before I open my eyes with gratitude. So I want to start with the second highest energy in the universe, which is gratitude. So I always give thanks for three things: someone, something, and something yet to come. Particularly early in the day. Okay, I'm grateful for this amazing conversation I'm going to have with Dr. Amanda or whatever it might be. So then I get up, I start my day. And then I go and I do my meditation. And right now I've been using the brain tap technology, but I've been meditating for a better part of 23 years. And that just helps, slows the mindset down, helps me get into what's called theta. Theta is when your brain waves are slow enough where your subconscious mind is literally reprogrammable. It's the highest state of reprogramming the subconscious mind. And the reason that's important is I don't care who you are or where you came from. We all were unintentionally, and sometimes intentionally, but mostly unintentionally, were given limiting beliefs by the significant people around me as we were growing. And they didn't do it, maliciously, but money doesn't grow on trees. The one I remember buddies saying to me, "Hey man, you'll never be fast enough to play basketball," or whatever the case may be. Right. And so, all these limiting, a teacher saying, you're good at history, you're not so good at math. And it may seem like an innocuous comment, but you just internalize that I'm never going to be good with numbers. Guess what? Now I've got a money mindset block, right? And it started
Mm-hmm.
in sixth grade by your math teacher.
Isn't that
So
wild? Yes.
that's how it happens.
Powerful.
That's
Absolutely.
how it
That
happens.
one experience can map onto your entire money story for the rest of your life if you don't get conscious of it.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So getting into that theta is how you then unprogram the negative beliefs or the limiting beliefs and reprogram a more empowering belief system. And we don't have enough time today, but my wife could tell you this story. When we first met to now, I was probably the most negative, angry person she had ever met. And
Wow.
I said, "Why did you stay with me?" She goes, "Outside of your boyish good look," she said, "potential." She said, "I saw potential." So I rewired my mind through the process of
Yeah.
meditation, visualization, visualize every day the outcomes I want to experience in the day. I affirm, right? Affirming is putting statements of affirmation out into universe of who I am and what I'm becoming. And another powerful way of reprogramming the subconscious mind, and then reading. So that's my morning routine. Sometimes it's only 10 minutes. Sometimes it's 40 minutes. Depends on the day.
Yeah. Awesome. These are gems of wisdom from a very high power entrepreneur who you've had many different types of businesses and highly successful. And it's hard for me to imagine you as negative. It's so interesting because I only know you this way.
Yeah.
It's same with me. I used to be like really victim minded and very, people wouldn't have known it because I think I had that mask of like looking nice and looking happy. People didn't know how much I was suffering. And I felt really stuck and frustrated and very resentful of other people because they had what I wanted and didn't have. So it was this constant like jealousy, resentment, irritation, frustration, helplessness, victim mindedness, just like, and blaming everybody else for it. And so it was like mindset work has been such a game changer for me. I mean, my whole world has, I had the coolest epiphany last night. I was talking to one of my best friends who was at my graduation. She was in my cohort, and it was 4 years ago. I'm just like 4 years and a couple days since I graduated. And when I graduated with my PhD, food stamps, like hadn't even started my business. And right, like I'm like, that was 4 years ago. Now I have, 6-figure growing. Every year it grows, my income. I'm married. I bought a house on almost an acre. Like my life is amazing, and I'm just like, wow, a lot can change in 4 years from mindset work, everyone. So check out our money mindset mastermind. We ran one before, as we said, it was called Charge What You're Worth. And we had a group of people that really excelled and it was incredible. So we decided to keep going with it and just restart it with the money mindset mastermind name. So, will you share for people what they're going to get out of it?
It's funny. you talked about, you used the word mask, and we all, we have a money mask. And the question is, what erected that mask, and what are the concepts and beliefs we hold that cause us to stay behind this mask? So we're going to help you identify, right, what it is. What are the beliefs right now that cause us to erect this money mask that we wear, so we can remove that? So again, so that we can understand what our triggers are, right? How to overcome those triggers, and more importantly, how to create the strategies of creating unlimited abundance into your life. That's probably the simplest way to put it. But I mean, we drill down on some really cool stuff, and oftentimes it's based on specific needs of individuals, so we can tailor it. But overall, it's really to remove that mask so you can create unlimited abundance into your life.
Oh, yeah. And it's so fun. I mean, like Dr. J and I bounce off each other. We bounce off the people in the group. We have a channel where we're connected throughout the week in between mastermind meetings. Like, it is a high vibe. If you're ready to up level your money mindset and really make more money in your business, this is the place that you want to be. You get both of us there, like tons of, like you said, tailored attention, people coming in and saying they made the most money they've ever made in their business after having a lot of years of business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it was the second or third month we were in the group.
Yeah, it was fast, really
Yeah.
fast. And just
Right.
this up-leveled vibe, you can just feel the vibe of the people in the mastermind. It's like that magic synergy that happens in a mastermind group where everybody's focused on up-leveling themselves. It creates a community of high vibe people, and you'll notice everything in your outer world starting to change. Your health gets better, your relationships get better, you make more money, you feel like the guilt, the shame, the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, all those things start to shift. So that's the power of a mastermind. And that is definitely what Dr. J and I are very inspired to bring to the table. And it's fun. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I talk about the formula for success. And the fifth element of that formula is associations. It's who you surround yourself. We will up-level our lives when we up-level our relationships. And humbly speaking, is we can bring a lot of experience in life that can help accelerate your progress exponentially. And the proof really comes in the results. And to me, that's the most gratifying part of it, because as the members of the mastermind start to see life-changing results, I mean, that's thrilling to me.
Oh yeah. There's nothing better than that.
Absolutely.
It's what I live for. It's so fun. Real quick, I saw we got a whole bunch of fun comments that I haven't been checking, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. I know Zamba plugged in with a whole bunch of awesomeness. Thanks for being here, Zamba. I see that you were plugging stuff in as we were speaking. And then Clayton also added access and exposure matters as we were talking about building businesses. So thank you everyone for chiming in. And in the future, I will be better about checking those comments, because we get into the group and sometimes I don't look at those. So thanks for being here, everyone. Dr. J, I know people can find us at the mastermind if they want to work with us. So you would go to www.themoneymindsetmastermind.com, themoneymindsetmastermind.com. Check that out. That's where you can work with us every week, have tons of cool interaction, up-level yourself and your money mindset. Where can they find you otherwise?
I have a podcast called Power, Passion, Prosperity with Dr. J. It's about empowering dreams, igniting passion, and accelerating prosperity, both on your mental and your physical, your financial, and relationships. And it's simple. You can find my podcast on any of your favorite podcast app, or you can go to our website, powerpassionprosperity.com.
Awesome. Everyone connect with Dr. J. He's just, I get to work with some really cool people in the world. And Dr. J is one of those that it's just like, when we first got to hang out together, I'm like, just energetically, the jiving and I always think of resonance, right? It's like resonating at a high frequency and really caring about people in the world. And we just have had the coolest conversations in our masterminds and getting to know each other in that way. And, he's someone that you definitely want to learn from. You can tell when people are tuned in and living by example and building businesses through example. So he's one of those people, can't recommend him highly enough. Super psyched to be doing a mastermind with him. So powerpassionprosperity.com, and we will love to see you in the mastermind. Of course, you all know where to find me. If you want 3 steps to increase your money confidence, go to nfamoneyformula.com, and I will be back next week. You can all see that I got my office is set up finally. So I moved a couple weeks ago. Here it is. I'm ready to keep rocking and rolling with the live. So I'll be here next week again at noon Mountain Standard Time. And until next time, thanks for being here, Dr. J. Thanks everyone who was here. We will see you next time. NFA Money Making High Fives.